Welcome back, noble heroes. We return once again to Mythia. Do make sure, if you enjoy our content, to give us a like and subscribe. We really appreciate it. And do try this at home. We join our heroes once again in Garen, and they are currently in the training yard outside of Harper's house with Faline, Red, and other allies at the moment. But we shall go far away from there for our intro today, as we join a older, far-away ally. Western clicked through the elegant marble halls of her uncle's estate. She smiled brightly when she saw him, and swiftly approached atop her heels, opening her arms for an embrace. "Uncle Fedrin, how have you been? It's so good to see you." These words weren't just the practiced niceties of nobles either. Western's face was shining with true joy, and the whitening magic she had been using on her smile dazzled even the stoic servants into giving a glance. "My dear Western, you're as lovely as salt's most lustrous treasure. Sit and tell me what has been happening these many months. How have you fared in Garen?" "Oh, Uncle, I basically have them eating out of the palm of my hand already," she marked confidently. "That's simple, eh? Not a wonder, considering you're the very scion of House Frey. And have your affections of Roland Tarkan borne fruit yet?" With these words, Western pursed her lips and looked sheepish. "I'm afraid that little foray has not gone as I wanted. It seems Roland and Leslie Lightwarden are a bit too smitten to be separated. I've decided to move on to other pastures. You know those paladins, always too obsessed with duty and loyalty anyway. But enough about me, Uncle. Tell me, how have you been?" "Well, you know, gardening. My roses are really something this year. I think I'll win the golden badge from Green Thumb Gloria this time. Can't wait to see that look of immense disappointment on her face when they call out my name. Other than that," his face suddenly looked more grave, "I've been dealing with these attacks coming off the water. Zombies, you know, my dear. We could use your sword to handle these monstrosities." Western looked serious and nodded, taking his request into immediate consideration. "Well, I shall get a hold of my contacts. Perhaps I can find some allies amongst the heroes I've been rubbing shoulders with." "If you are able, that would be a great help. Did you have anyone in mind?" "Well, I did meet some interesting ones just recently in Bridgewalk. Do you remember the youngest son of the Crowley house, Isaac?" "Of course. The Crow, they called him. He was a real bad apple, that one." "Really? He seemed quite changed then. I gave some aid to Roland, and that Isaac was grouped up with him. A godmother of some power and a little halfling woman. She was really something." "Ah, you've always had a fondness for the halflings." "This one was different. I've never met a halfling like her." "Wait a moment, Western. You said Roland, Isaac Crowley, a godmother and a halfling. Was she a pirate?" "Why, yes, Uncle. How did you know that?" "That's the group that Queen Estrid gave a speech about. She said something was happening to Fate, and that they were responsible for fixing it by prophecy. I've definitely been feeling like something is wrong lately. There's too much bad happening for it to be a coincidence." "Really? It's already reached Selenox, then?" "Oh, my dear. The rumors I have heard lately coming from the Golden Hills. It's worse than it was during the Civil War." "Well, what kind of rumors?" "I don't even believe some, but the nobles' movements are telling. Something is going on for sure." "Well, don't be coy with your favorite niece, Uncle. Share the gossip." "Well, some are saying that a vampire is actually controlling the undead from inside the city and attacking the Diamond Coasts because of some anti-human bias." Well, if a tiefling were to become a vampire..." Western paused, biting her lip. That Isaac had looked undead, and he controlled a skeleton warrior, even from a great distance. His servants looked like an evil minion sort as well. "Also, the Lords of the Hills have begun construction on a new island in the bay, apparently to move their estates to and keep the common folk at arm's length. That one I know for sure." "But Uncle, that's insane. The cost can't possibly be worth it. Just hire better guards. Western was outraged, but perhaps also a bit jealous at the fabulous wealth that their move suggested. Well, I have heard that the construction is cursed. They say the very soul of the Lich Betmorth is angry that they are building on the ruins of his dungeon, and dozens of workers have died or gone missing. It's gotten so bad that they've had to put a pause on the work to send in clerics. My word. The gossip kept coming, but underneath the pleasantries, Westerun could tell that her uncle wanted to talk to her about something else. You seem pensive about something. Her light hand touched his face, concerned. He grabbed it and gave a squeeze and kissed it. Is that obvious, eh? I do admit to a certain trepidation. What is it? She saw him fighting internally over whether to broach some sensitive topic. Well, it's your mother. Westerun immediately looked away. Oh. She grabbed her knees and put her mouth to them. Yes, I've been getting weekly notes. Ah. She mumbled into her pants. They've been wondering about your vow to return after 5 years. Whether you still plan to. Her uncle was trying to be careful. It's only been 4 years. True, but this is the second stint you've done in foreign lands. Fedrin was looking anywhere but at his niece. Well, I haven't accomplished what I set out to do yet. I don't want to let the family down. This last bit she whispered in a barely audible tone. Fedrin looked at Westerun. Only moments before she had been a proud warrior, and now, after a few sentences, she was a shy little girl again. He wouldn't be surprised if her stutter returned next. He wrapped his arms around her slight frame. I'm so proud of you, he said, embracing her in warmth. Her icy walls cracked, and she began to tear up. See, why can't you lead House Frey? You would do so much better than Father ever did. Shh. You know why. That's just not who I am anymore. But you are. He pulled up her chin, bringing them face to face. Her huge eyes, running with makeup, looked up at him, threatening to spill over again. Her face broke, and she slammed him with a hug. You're the only one that I trust, she whispered. They embraced for a long time, until she felt strong enough to stand and excuse herself to freshen up. While in the mirror parlor, setting her face once again, her uncle suddenly walked in. Uncle? It was unusual for a man to enter this room, usually reserved for women. I just remembered, dear, that Isaac Crowley you mentioned seeing in Bridgewalk. He has a massive bounty on his head by his father. I think it was 1 million gold coins. 1 million? Westerun was stunned. To put such an amount of wealth down on a family spat. But then again, perhaps her and Isaac were more similar than she had wanted to know. What do you want me to do about it, Uncle? Try to take him in? She was confused. No. I was thinking that a surefire way to get your mother off your back would be to succeed beyond her wildest dreams. And you know how high her expectations can be. Fedrin's own face darkened a little. I just thought about Queen Estrid's speech and how it seemed to be traveling all over. Even my guard captain mentioned it just yesterday, about how it might pose a security risk. This seems to my eye to be a ship rising, my Rose, and floodwaters carry all boats up. Westerun caught on instantly. A global problem is going to make globally renowned heroes, she suddenly said back, excited. Now, you may not be a part of the prophecy, but you do know Roland and Harper. If you are there for the battles, Westerun finished his sentence, knowing it well, then a few coins to the bards get you into the history books. It was perfect! Just the kind of fame that would satisfy her family. And one more thing. You may have the perfect inn. Her uncle smiled. She looked quizzically pleased at him. Get as much information on Isaac's bounty as you can. Fedrin began to list off, counting on each finger as he went. Who is hunting them? How many have begun the investigation? What does his father want with him? Then give it over as a show of your usefulness. It's completely brilliant, Uncle. She ran to hug him. Who cared about makeup? I best hurry. I can't miss my boat.
Take it we're gonna have a stove. Or should I say a tag along?
That's not the twist I was expecting Prelude to take.
Are you okay?
You okay?
Yeah. Wrong pipe.
No.
Oh.
I dropped my stuff again.
I'm glad I didn't drop my stuff.
I could reach
That would
No,
suck.
don't hurt yourself.
I'm not that old.
Oh, 50-year-old Julian. He can't reach the floor.
I can't. No, but I can't do that movement. It hurts my neck. So like, maybe I'm a 50-year-old.
Oh, jeez.
Thank you.
Julian is the spring chicken of the bunch right now.
It's
I
true.
am today. Max slept
It's
all
true.
night last night, so I'm like,
Oh.
You're
my
well
God.
rested.
I feel like
Oh.
9 hours, yeah.
Wow.
Anytime he sleeps 5 hours, like at the 5-hour mark, I snap awake feeling super rested at like 3 a.m. and I'm like, I can't go back to sleep.
Oh no.
It's to my body, that's so much sleep. So
That's nuts. All right. We begin after some rather intense revelations and healing from last session. First off, Juniper has regained a portion of her former power from when she was young and extremely mighty.
Speaking of spring chickens, I get to go back to my spring chickenhood.
Euphemia,
what slot did you get? I can't remember.
6th.
Okay.
Euphemia learned
I
that
rolled poorly.
it may be possible that ideas could be transformed back into acceptable forms to people with Harper's help and potentially some additional combat advantages, such as throwing Pearl's Lament. And a secret, perhaps a dark secret, we don't know, was revealed when Harper discovered a imprisoning thread on the staff of Alton Madsong, which upon cutting unleashed monstrosities from the staff. A giant skeleton with spikes and a big hulking body. Asher has apparently been hiding something with his fellow advisor brethren.
Oh, sorry, I about died whenever Western was saying, yeah, like a vampire. You know, he even had that evil corpse. I'm just like, "Pah, if only you knew."
I was dying when like the skeleton just wanted to like go back into the staff. He's like,
Oh,
whoops.
Pay no attention to the skeleton
moment
behind the
where I-
curtain.
I thought he had summoned something and we were going to have to fight it. Like, I didn't put 2 and 2 together of who the skeleton was. I was just like, oh god. Everyone run.
Faline is going to approach Euphemia as she looks at the obstacle course once again for perhaps the 3rd time, looking at that seemingly impossible time that Faline has marked up on the board. I'm sure you'll get me eventually, she says.
Any advice?
Longer legs might help, she says, as a sort of sly joke. towards
Euphemia
you.
just slowly turns her head up at her.
I was thinking, my father was always into enchanting as a hobby, and did teach me a little bit about it. I saw that your gloves seem to be for apprentices. I could give them an upgrade.
That would be wonderful.
We could perhaps change it from once a day to all the time. What do you think? Now, I'm not an expert, but I do know a few, and I believe with a little bit of magic and potentially a small amount of money, we could bring them up to snuff.
Any idea on how long that might take?
Enchanting is long work, but it looks about half of it is done already. I imagine no more than 3 days.
I'd like to get started on it as soon as possible. I think this might be, and she looks down at her hands, very useful.
Well, I'm meeting with a couple of other heroes later today, and one of them knows my friend, so I can gift them, and they'll get it to the enchanter. She holds out her hand to take them.
She starts to peel them off. Does she have a spare of gloves? I can't remember.
So you had
Normal
one of
ones.
them was destroyed. Your
Right.
right hand was destroyed, and you wore these instead. But you don't have a 3rd set of gloves. You just have a left hand right now. If you take these away.
Before she takes the other one off, You wouldn't happen to know where I could pick up some gloves pretty quickly, do you?
Garen. Wait, am I there?
She's going to like hold out her hand and like hold it next to your hand, and then when she realizes her fingers are maybe like a couple centimeters longer than yours, she's going to, well, I have some, but they won't fit you. She looks around. She's going to kind of walk over to Harper and then like playfully chide him for not having more halfling friends. And then she's going to say, do you think old Edgar would have some halfling gloves? Harper's going to think on it for a moment. Probably. Why don't you go ask him? Let's go on inside. One of his drinking buddies has a leather shop.
It sounds promising. She follows.
The two of you out in the yard. June, feeling strangely...
What's going on? Where am I as opposed to where she was? Because clearly I wasn't there during that conversation.
You're maybe 25 feet away, near the training dummies, which you just got done frying one with a scorching ray. Harper is maybe 5 feet from you, and he's sort of eyeing between multiple people, including some children who are playing like fairly far away on the lot.
June is doing a quick internal audit, basically, where she's going through her own personal channels inside, just figuring out what changed, what got fixed, how she feels.
As you're doing your personal audit, you do remember that you set up a time to meet with Katrat today, and that time is approaching quickly.
She will finish what she's doing, and then she will look up. Well, Harper, I am eternally grateful for what you have done, you and Euphemia.
Well, wasn't very much effort, fortunately, he says.
Well, even the smallest effort can make the biggest difference.
He gives a nod, but doesn't say anything.
Regardless, I do have an appointment I need to keep at the moment, so unless there is something else.
So, feeling better? Gloved hand slaps on your shoulder, and you turn around to see Red.
Hello, Red.
You look terrible. I don't know if it worked, he says, looking up at Harper.
She's kind of... look. She's like...
He gives a chuckle. Where's that bug? Little one.
Bug?
Yeah, the little birdie boy.
Walks is back at the academy at the moment.
Oh.
Actually, no, he's not. He went out with Dom, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
She goes, I believe he is out with one of Yuffie's crew, Dom.
Okay. Just, I don't know. Little kid, big city, you know?
I'm sure Dom can handle it.
He nods. Anyway, you want to do some training?
I'm afraid I need to go and keep an appointment. I have a meeting with a messenger.
Darn, I needed like a lower class wizard to practice with.
You're just begging to get turned into something.
That would be practice, wouldn't it?
I suppose it would, but then the problem is I would forget that I did it when I stopped looking at you.
Wouldn't that make it go away?
Probably not.
Would you concentrate on something that you don't know you have to maintain?
Depends on how long I've held it.
Isn't it like, I don't know, holding in the BM or something?
You're disgusting.
I don't know how it works. I'm not a mage.
You're lucky I don't have access to 9th level.
He says, I've heard about those. Quite, big pants spells, huh?
I suppose that's a way to describe them.
So wait, if you're getting healed from some injury, were you able to do that kind of thing?
Yes.
Damn. Well, I guess we'll see you later then.
Indeed. Until next time, then.
He nods. Off to those motherly duties that you have.
She just shakes her head, turns around, and promptly forgets about it as her expression clears up.
Harper gives you a curt nod, and then is going to head over to a table that his friends seem to be sitting up outside.
She is going to stop by Isaac, who I'm assuming is still throwing spells? I don't know what you're doing. Did I disrupt you with my scorching ray? How did that affect your morale?
Did you hit the training dummy I was using?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think
There
I
are
did the next
there
one.
are like
Okay.
25
You look the
training
next one
dummies.
over you, or you're working on smashing it, and she just obliterated the one next to it.
Isaac looks physically worn in a way you usually don't see, and he looks like he's expended probably like all of his spell slots destroying dummies. So he's just like,
Isaac, as Juniper is approaching you, you see a, like, age 14 perhaps, half-orc boy approach one of the dummies and kind of like point at it and be like, "Can I go?"
You've been monopolizing all of the dummies.
Oh.
You're a jerk.
Isaac's like, he's leaning on his staff and he's like, "You don't need my permission. I'm done." And he like turns around and starts walking away from the dummies.
"Are you a warlock?" he says.
Isaac's gonna make his eyes red and then like smile at him and be like, "Yes," and then keep walking away.
All right, give me an intimidation check. If you roll
June
high
is
enough,
literally just shaking her head at you as she's approaching.
if you roll at least a 15, the local boys make up their own like stories about your character and give you a cool nickname.
Okay.
Is it
This
actually
D20
cool?
is cursed, so I'm
Or
not
is
gonna
it
use
local
I
boy
actually want-
nickname cool?
It's local boy nickname. Cool.
Yes.
Sorry, my brain's not working right now. 30. Wait, no, sorry. Plus 6, 18, 24. Okay.
Okay. The boy is going to involuntarily take a step back, and then as you turn around, you're going to see several other boys have kind of approached, and he's going to kind of like look at them and be like, "Whoa, cool."
They're going to start calling you the Emberlock.
You approach.
She walks up to you. She goes, "You look tired."
I can't remember the last time I cast that many spells in one day.
Well, it's nice to be in a position where we can do that.
I suppose so. I do feel awfully vulnerable.
She nods. I am going to meet up with... Oh my god.
Kazran.
Kazrat?
Yep.
Yeah, sorry. She said, "I'm going to meet up with Kazrat right now, but I wanted to let you know I'd be at the academy for whenever you wished to continue with your plans."
Is the academy the school we were staying at?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Isaac says he'll keep that in mind. He was also going to go do something before he met up with you.
She nods.
Did you guys specify a time frame about going to the Forgotten Place?
No, we just said we were going to meet up. So she was just letting him know that she had plans beforehand.
And asking for permission first before.
Yes, we have to go ask for permission first, although the big plan was going
Although,
to...
is he gonna ask for permission?
Hero is going to timidly approach Harper, and the two begin to quietly talk, and Hero's going to kind of make like this gesture. You think maybe he's bringing up something about his berserker tendencies?
Toads forgot about that. You're so bad about this.
I was going to say Harper hasn't gotten to Hero yet, has he?
Correct.
Hero was waiting until you guys kind of had your turn.
Oh
Yeah.
man, I kind of want to see the training when Tosh.
I know, but...
That's what I've been waiting for this whole time. We didn't get to it last session.
Anyway, she says, "I figure we could send a message to the palace and ask for an audience so that we can acquire permission."
Would you mind taking care of that for me?
No, I can do so.
Thank you.
I will message you when I find out the information.
Harper is going to, now that you sort of look up from your conversation, you see that he has like a note, and he sort of like ripped it open. And he's going to kind of like look at it. He has a concerned look, and then he kind of looks up at you all from the distance. And then he's going to kind of like gesture you over to him.
I believe we are being summoned.
When you get over, he's going to sort of like show you the note, and he says, "It's from the kings. Apparently, they are planning on a summit."
When?
As soon as possible. Which, depending on when the other kingdoms answer, could be as early as tomorrow. They are going to bring them in by teleportation. They're inviting Aragoth.
Are they now? Where's Euphemia?
She went with Leslie, or she went with Faylene. They're inside.
She does this number. She's like, well,
He says, it's about fate breaking and pit.
yes, of course. Well, at least as much as... at least the other kingdoms are taking a notice now.
I imagine there'll be a back and forth. I know Josia won't come if certain others are there.
Shocker. I think I should go find Euphemia before I continue on to my own plans then.
Well, we're going to get started, I think. He says, looking down at Hero, who's going to kind of timidly smile up and then like gives you guys like a kind of, I'm gung-ho.
June gives him a very warm smile and says, "You've got this, Hero."
He says, "Hey, June, when you get a chance, I wanted to talk to you about something, but more privately."
Of course. She quickly is mentally planning out her schedule right now to the minute and second. And she goes, how about... She tosses him the messenger coin. Hold on to that, and as soon as you're ready, send a message to Kashrat. She'll be with me. Kashrat, she'll be with me.
He gives you a thumbs up. As you walk away, you suddenly feel the intense surge of adrenaline as Hero rages. You see him sort of, there's this like almost footballer style metal wall that's sort of in like a rough patch of dirt, and Harper tells him to shove it. And you're gonna see
Sorry.
he kind of like,
Totally took that the wrong way of a head.
it looks like it should be significantly too heavy for him to move. But as he moves up to it, you're going to see his tiny frame sort of press mightily against it, and it begins to drag through the soil.
Our little Meek's not so meek anymore.
He's not.
I love it.
I wish to go and find Yuffie before I continue onward.
Are you afraid she's going to hear about it from someone else?
Yes, she is.
Yep.
She figures it's best to let you know in person.
You were getting ready to head over to this leather shop to pick out some gloves from one of Harper's friends. And you're walking out the door when Juniper appears.
Euphemia,
Yes, she says.
could I have a word for a moment, please? Before you go wherever it is you're going.
She looks at, I guess it's Faylene and the friend.
Yeah.
She has a very serious expression on right now.
She says, just one moment, and walks towards June.
She will glance around and pull you into a little room that's off the kitchen, whatever room we're in right now.
Yeah, you're in kind of like a sitting room at the front. You go into one of the side hallways, and there's like a guy there, sort of just drinking out of a tankard, and he's gonna kind of like stare at you for a second before kind of turning and like wandering away.
Yep, good.
Euphemia will look and say, that's a serious look on your face.
Yes.
What in the world could this be? I'm not going to like it, am I?
Oh, you'll hate it. I'm not overly fond of it myself, but I figure it's best if you hear it from me beforehand. The kings of Giran are calling for a summit
Seems wise.
among all the kingdoms, and Jasia is invited.
The moment you say that name, her eyes lock, and you feel a little bit of like murderous intent.
That's why she's looking at you. I need to know that you can control yourself.
She walks away for a second and picks up like there's like a small object on the table and just lobs it into the wall.
Let's hope
Is
that
it
wasn't
something
important.
That would break?
Yes.
Okay. It shatters, and you see like some of the guys drinking in the other room can kind of see through the corner of the open doorway, and you're gonna see them kind of like their eyes kind of get big, and they sort of like quickly shuffle out of the room.
Juna's going to wait. Well, never mind. She doesn't. She just looks at it and she goes. She just waits for you quietly.
You can see her trying to control her breathing. If I killed him here, it would mean war between the kingdoms, right?
Yes. Actually, it would probably be even worse than that. They would become a hindrance to our quest.
She grips her hands tight. He's a secondary objective. For now.
Believe me, Yuffie, no one understands more than I do your hatred for that. Her face is twitching slightly as she's trying to find an appropriate word, and she goes, being. I understand your rage and hatred. I understand your desire for revenge and destruction. But I'm glad that you are able to see things on a larger scale.
How would you have any idea what it was like to grow up in that hellhole under his thumb? What possible reason could you have to hate him as much as any of us could?
My history with him is very long. I remember when he took the throne.
When he stole the throne, you mean?
Yes.
Were you involved in it?
Not with him, no.
I didn't think you were involved with him. But the struggle for power in Aragoth.
We were seeking peace. We had almost arranged it.
Jennifer, you do know a piece of information that Euphemia very likely does not know about the rise to power of Jasia.
Which bit?
Dominus.
Give me a moment as I'm attempting to remember Dominus.
Dominus is the angel of darkness.
Whoa, that was involved? Yep, she definitely doesn't know that.
Okay, remind me again.
As soon
yes,
as
I'm sure
Jasia
I
took
remember
the
this
throne,
one.
he was likely going to fail within his first couple of years. He would have lost control of Aragoth if the Dark Angel Dominus didn't come to him and offer to be a sort of wicked advisor of sorts.
Gotcha, okay.
Trying to shape him into a force of manipulatable evil within the
So in
world.
other words, he directly opposed us.
Yes.
Okay, she goes. Back in the beginning, we almost dethroned him at the start. We were able to destabilize him to a degree that, had we succeeded, had it progressed as we had planned, this would have never happened. But our efforts were thwarted by the involvement of one of Satan's followers, Dominus.
Dominus is not a follower of Satan's hand and never has been.
Not Satan's hand, Satan.
He was inspired by Satan only to think that the darkness was a weapon. He isn't one of Satan's.
I thought he was one of his demons.
No, he is an angel that fell and then was corrupted by darkness. He is a creature of elder darkness now.
Oh, my apologies.
Whoa.
Reverse, that didn't happen.
So he's a whole separate power from like...
Okay, she goes, a fallen angel who took to the teachings of darkness, Dominus, acted as his advisor, if you will, more of a manipulator at the time.
Is that name well known out of game?
No.
Okay. So
About as well known as yours.
Okay.
So,
So,
outside
like-
of most circles, no.
Okay. She would look confused at the name Dominus.
He's an ancient powerhouse who is basically an elder darkness.
What in the world would he want with Aragoth?
Do we know? Did we ever find that out?
You may roll a difficult history check. You will gain varying information based on its abilities, and each of you gain inspiration.
Here we go. Wish me luck.
Thank you. You can do it. You can do it.
Come on.
By the power of your koi fish purse.
That's a new one. Is that new?
Technically, the purse itself is not new. I bought this when we were in Arizona. Nope. We never went to Arizona, New Mexico. Yes.
Okay.
Santa Fe.
I haven't seen that one before. That's why I
It
asked.
was a Japanese-inspired onsen. It was awesome.
That's cute.
And it matches my rosebud dice. And I have a coin pouch that almost exactly matches it too.
Nice.
Okay, I think, don't I have...
Do you have a racial ability concerning history? I think it's if you roll below a 10 or a 9, you get a 10.
Yeah. So.
$22?
22. Okay. So you know that Dominus, after the First War, after the Dragon War, Dominus was a very normal angel. He was not a light golem, and he was fascinated by how Satan had used the darkness and pitched a sort of experiment separately from you to investigate the darkness and see if there were ways to transform its properties to benefit or maybe change them back into what they used to be. Basically in the same kind of experimental vibe that Juniper was working on at the time. But he was denied, and they told him not to do that, and he intentionally fell to do just that. But at some point during it either got the best of him, or he decided that he was never going to go back, and became corrupted by it instead. You don't know if he died and his corpse is used, or if he is alive in a similar way to an elder.
So we don't know if it's if an actual darkness elder just like took over his corpse like the dragons were taken over, or if he's still mentally there and just got corrupted.
Yeah.
Okay. She will say, a very, very long time ago, back shortly after the War of Darkness, after Satan fell the first time, she goes, there was an angel who was tempted to use the powers of darkness and to experiment on it. And then she basically tells you the tale. Then she ends up saying, so we don't know if it's actually a being of darkness or if it's still Dominus. But either way, he is evil.
Well, I'm sure he and Josia did get along swimmingly then.
Indeed.
Why did he triumph? I've seen your power. And
I'm not omnipotent.
it might be terrible to say, but I'm rather relieved about that.
Well, she shrugs. I'm not sure I'd particularly like that myself.
Your history check will additionally get you one small piece of information. You know that Josio was fairly clumsy with his use of political power and the crown up front. But the moment he sort of joined with Dominus, Dominus derived some cunning tricks to allow him to maintain power. The first one was that Josiah doesn't wear the crown anymore. He wears a replica of the crown. The crown's power is still linked to him, but it's somewhere else, like a lich's phylactery.
Which is why we've never been able to steal it back.
Yes.
Which we've tried. Which is probably why we know that that's not his real crown.
It was called Operation Glass Crown.
Us getting it back?
No,
Oh,
the
him taking
fake
it.
crown.
Yeah. She will say, she goes, I'm not sure if you're aware, I doubt you are. The crown he wears on a daily basis is not the real crown. He somehow linked himself to it, and it is hidden somewhere, unscribable even through wishes.
You are fairly sure, by all guesses of fate, that it must be in Aragoth to be functional.
Well, yeah, obviously, she didn't really feel that was necessary.
Euphemia goes blank for a second. And then she starts to laugh a little bit. Just kind of a slightly hysterical laugh.
She looks concerned for you.
So it was all useless.
She quirks an eyebrow. She's not sure what you're talking about.
She says, on my way out of Aragoth, I tried to take his crown. It wasn't even the right one. All that pain for nothing.
You're not the first to try to steal it. She gives you a very annoyed, wry, and tight smile. We got it off his head.
But it's still linked to him. Well, someday I'll take it.
I look forward to working with you on that.
Eventually, there was a less than amicable falling out between Dominus and Josiah. It's likely Josiah betrayed him. Dominus left.
She will say that. But he got enough.
So this is personal for you.
Very much so.
Good. I don't think there could be many things more personal to me. She looks at Juniper a bit.
There are very few people I truly hate in this world. But he is one of them.
I hate a lot of people.
I find hate to be exhausting, and there's no point. They usually die sooner or later.
I think that might speak more to your ability to get rid of threats.
It was more like patience, but yes, that too.
She looks down at her necklace. Why did you give me this? When you first gave it, I thought it was just to convince me to be more malleable to whatever plans you had.
Perhaps that is a small point, but no. Clebe is important to you. Clebe is an individual, and he deserves the respect of his name. And I know you can't say it.
I wasn't sure what to think of you for a long time. Your powers. I thought mine were terrifying and how they could be abused. But you could change the fabric of reality around us and we would never know the difference. So why does it matter to you what someone small thinks or feels? Why? Most people with power, real power like yours, it doesn't matter to them.
Because you're not just someone small. You're my friend. My companion. Just as I said to Isaac, I meant what I said. I do not like to open up to people. It hurts too bad when they're gone, usually, so I don't. But I have been informed that I am too closed off. And I have drifted too far from this world.
Welcome back to it then. All the messy chaos that it is.
It is indeed. It always has been.
I have a favor to ask you. As a friend.
She quirks her head, waits.
You know, my sister is still in Aragoth and potentially under great threat. She's being watched as well. However, the powers that watch her would not be watching so closely during the national holidays coming up. It would be an opportune time to perhaps use sending or something to speak with her directly.
Are you trying to get her out?
I'd like to. But for now, I mostly need to know... I need to know that she's still alive. And... that will determine a lot of what I need to do next.
Do I know that Pearl's Lament is connected to your sister?
I don't
I
think...
don't think anybody knows.
other than her crew.
Yeah, your crew, but
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have anything of hers?
She looks down at her sword. I have her pain and sorrow in this dagger.
If you were anyone else, I would think you were speaking metaphorically. However, do you know if she's protected by scrying? From scrying?
I think so. At least while she's being watched.
The guess that Bali made was that, as a noble lady, she would need to be sort of shown, at least on the holidays, in order for Seraphina to fake gentility, so that she would likely be outside of the guards of the estate,
Okay.
which is where they would lay down anti-scrying magic if they were going to do that.
She would tell Juniper that.
I see. So she doesn't have anything on her person usually that you know of that blocks it.
Not that I know of. And even if she did, I doubt she'd be allowed to wear something like that into greater society.
Considering if she escaped, they couldn't find her. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Very well. When's the next holiday? This is definitely something June would know off the top of her head, so.
Euphemia would as well, but...
It is a little over 2 weeks away.
She goes. So in a fortnight, come to me, bring your blade, and we'll scry her out.
She leans forward. What?
I need to send a message. Although it's difficult to get messages. Wait, Aragoth can receive messages, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Just checking. Couldn't remember. Are they censored? Is there a way they can't be censored, yes?
They go to mailboxes that are routinely checked.
Okay, can they not go to mailboxes? Like, can they just go
Only
in
a
person?
coin messenger cannot go to a mailbox.
We could send one.
Yes, but that is highly illegal
Gotcha.
in Aragoth, and the messengers might not do that.
That's fair. Okay, she's got other routes. She goes,
Of course she does.
I have a few people who are stationed inside Aragoth. Well, technically just outside. It's too dangerous to keep them inside the Scions, where They have, well, which one? It's the dude with the fate that can see through everything, right?
The guard captain, yes.
She goes, the guard captain makes it too difficult to keep somebody within the city at all points.
That would make sense.
I used to have a headquarters there, but we were forced to move it over to... What's that place called? Sorry. We were forced to move it to Cross when Jasia took over.
Give me a very easy history check. I'm fairly sure you know much about the guard captain, but I want to make sure.
Real quick, isn't Walks no longer an official messenger?
I'm not sending him to Aragon. Are you fucking crazy? He's my kid.
Okay.
A history check, you said? Okay, I don't think I have anything for...
I mean, I didn't suggest anything yet.
It's a straight 14, I think. But, hold on.
That's it.
Okay.
The captain of the guard is at least rumored and likely semi-confirmed to you to be able to read minds.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's confirmed now.
Thank you.
I will see if they're able to look into anything, but I can't have them risk themselves too much right now. It's very difficult getting spies in that area.
Oh, I'm aware. Information in and out of there. It can be almost impossible.
Yes. And the effects of the crown make it even more so.
Faylene is going to kind of like clear her throat in the front of the hallway.
My apologies, Faylene. I'll give her back to you.
He's needs to attend an appointment in a couple of minutes if you want the gloves now.
Oh, gracious, I do too. She looks down at her. She pulls out a small pocket watch. She goes,
Euphemia just steps forward and puts like a bracing hand on her shoulder. Thank you. She nods and walks out.
Juniper, can you... She points down to the shards of the pot.
after she walks out, she goes, I intended to. She just kind of goes, and it snaps back together. She just didn't want to, offend you too much by just fixing what you just broke. Otherwise,
But then
you
she
probably
can break it again.
Yeah, I know. That's the other reason she didn't want to do it. Thank you. Wish points.
It's pretty impressive, eh? Harper says outside as you watch Hero perform some mighty feats of strength in his rage, standing about 20 yards away.
How is this supposed to help him?
The first thing you do with a berserker is get them used to raging.
Okay. I guess he was always trying to suppress it, so if we get him to use it openly, do some mundane tasks, it's not so scary to him anymore.
He nods. Are you well? He says. And he's going to kind of like look down towards your covered leg.
Oh. I always have something weird going on, but I think I'll be alright.
He's going to sort of like fish around in his multiple belt pouches, and he's going to pull out a half-broken star cookie.
Does he have like a Batman belt? With,
It's
little
like a
satchels?
larger belt with like 3 satchels. on
Okay.
each side, yeah.
Alright.
He's going to try this. He says, handing you the cookie.
Okay, Isaac takes a big old bite.
All right, it's a poppable size of cookie.
Oh, okay.
So you kind of throw it in, and your fanged teeth devour the cookie.
Delicious. How long has it been since I've had a cookie?
I think maybe
since you had tea with June. Come on, let's
never
be
mind.
honest.
Not that long ago.
Now, mine probably aren't as good as this cookie.
the cookie seems, it's not quite stale, but it's a little bit.
It tastes like satchel.
Take it back,
little
bit.
yeah.
They are.
As soon as you eat it, you feel a strange sort of lightness. A good feeling goes through your body, and you're going to suddenly hear a kind of uncomfortable flesh warping noise, and your leg is suddenly restored to full. Your leg is fixed.
Oh, that pastry was incredible. Where did that come from?
My sister, Amelia. It's her fate.
I see. No wonder you keep those in a pocket of yours.
She provides them to all of Giran, but her ovens can't run for everybody.
How much would this cost for, I don't know, an average Giran citizen?
Well, she tries to give as many away for free as possible, but there's a catch, as most fates. She has to be feeling the way that she wants the cookie to make you feel when she cooks it.
That's quite the stipulation.
So when she's feeling healthy and bright, she makes these. She calls them pinwheels of happiness.
And when she's feeling down,
Well, those are for different things.
I see.
Maroons of despair.
Do you use them?
Maroons?
Macaroons. Yeah,
Macaroons.
Okay.
Macaroons of despair. Maroons. You get marooned all of a sudden.
Yeah. Well, that's quite generous of you to share one of these with me. I appreciate it. Wasn't sure how long I'd be dragging this thing around with me for before it just healed itself.
Does that happen to you?
I heal fairly quickly compared to most clerics. Yes.
He nods. I see.
So, I've been meaning to ask you. I've been receiving reports from out in the world about going-ons and problems people are having, and I've been making a list of adventurers I'd like to conscript and send out to help take care of these issues. Would you be willing to help?
This is your list.
Okay. Isaac's going to hand him a kind of like sheet of condensed notes of what's going on in the Sky Range.
Man, if I didn't know it up front, I'd know you were a noble just from your handwriting.
I'll choose to take that as a compliment.
He's
Isaac-
not going to say anything in response.
Isaac says, I think that this is something which could very quickly spiral out of control, and I think we need to nip it in the bud early. And I was hoping that your crew would be able to step up to the task.
Maybe you and I should consult with your giant friend. He's been causing a bit of a stir within the city.
I think he'd be more than happy to get out of this city and perhaps return. He could take you all.
Well, if you're willing to, after I'm done here with Hero, maybe we could go and find him.
That sounds like a plan. And in the meantime, Isaac's going to like pull out some more sheets and he shuffles through them. I'm looking to hire more heroes to help with other tasks. Maybe none as important as this one, but do you have any recommendations? I plan on visiting the White Boar and the Quester's Chest, but I didn't know if you had anyone personally that you'd suggest.
He says, well, you came to the right place. He says, let's see, off the top of my head, Tamil, Canis, Bosch, Hanak. He
Did
says,
you say Tannock?
Tamil, who is the second one?
Canis,
Okay.
Bosch, Amak,
Okay.
Demil,
These are wonderful names.
off the top of my head, anyway.
Well, that's way more than I was thinking I would get. I'll reach out, see what they think.
What was the first one?
Tamil.
Tamil. Okay.
He goes, Canis, Bosch, and Amak are going to require some coin. But the others might help merely out of habit.
Canis, Amak, and who else?
Bosch.
Bosch, okay.
You have heard of several of these. Tamil, the Iron Juggernaut. She has a similar power to Potjack in that she's super strong, but she's not like unstoppable like he is. You'd say she's like a degree lower in faith than Potjack, but she's
Okay.
still ascended. Canis, Bosch, and Amak are the famous Ulam brothers, a renowned group of 3 mercenary brothers, twins actually, or triplets. Canis Canis the hawk can fly. Bosch the bear has all the strength and hair of a bear. And Amak the fish, the least powerful of the brothers, is able to... He has like gills and can breathe underwater and swim really fast.
Aquaman.
And then do I know anything about the mill?
You may roll a... Let's do a wisdom check.
Wisdom, right? Straight wisdom, right?
Yes.
That's on its edge. Okay, 21.
DeMille Terrester, otherwise known as the Volcano. She is able to cause heat and flame to spew from her hands, body, and weapons.
Okay.
She is a dwarven woman, born in the Halfling Hills. And then that's it.
Okay. So, did Harper have anything else he wanted to talk about?
No.
Okay. So after that, I'm going to go to you, if you're still here.
She is not.
She just left to the leather shop or whatever.
Oh yeah, to get your
I don't know
gloves.
how far away it is.
Okay.
You're like, as you like go in the house, and you're like, Yuvi? She's like, I like these ones. These are nice.
All right. In that case, I'd like to go to. Let's go to the Quester's chest first. I want to recruit some more heroes.
This man is getting things done over here.
There are time limits for these quests, and if we don't take care of them, like horrible stuff happens and we gain chaos. So I want to
I'm glad that you are on it.
before they get away from us.
Okay. You go to head through town. Please describe the new gloves that you get.
Are these, so none of them have any kind of powers, right? It's just fashionable
These are just fashion,
gloves. Okay.
You are looking at a old, skilled hand with both cloth and leather. He has a sort of rustic shop, sort of the same vibe you get from Harper's house, kind of like an older gentleman's business establishment. It's sort of out of the way, a little corner shop, but as you go in, it's like just like all the inventory. And you see that he has gloves of just all sizes.
Remind me, does it matter for her fate if the gloves are cut off at any point?
They do have to be fingerless.
They have to be fingerless
Yes.
completely. Okay.
I told you about the Quester's chest, right? June did?
Yes, and you told me to talk to Lillian.
Yes. Okay. Sorry. Thank you. There's something I would have done, so I just needed to remember that. Continue, please.
No worries.
Those gloves.
As she's browsing the gloves, she tries on a couple of the soft leather type, but they creak a little bit. Too much sound. So she goes to a plain black cloth glove with the fingers cut out that has a little bit of like grip on it so that it doesn't slide too much. And she kind of longingly looks at the leather gloves and then takes those up front instead.
Okay.
Back.
They have any like emblem or anything on them? A lot of these do have the gear and double shield.
Even on the cloth ones?
Not all of them, but some. That's like a clearly in fashionable thing. Or they have like the eagle, which is the symbol of.
Is there
gear.
color on it for something like that, or can it be just...
Yeah, it's usually in like
stitched?
they're like either black and then the thing's in white thread or something like that.
No, she wants something completely black.
Okay. All right. As you head up, you kind of look at it, and he's gonna kind of look at Faylene sort of quizzically. She's paying, he says. Free of charge, friend of Harper, please.
She looks at Faylene, surprised.
She's going to give you a shrug.
Let me pay you something, she says.
Please, you ascended do more work than I do in a year.
She puts it on. It's good work.
He says, you're part of our history now.
Welcome to the good side. We get cookies.
She thanks him.
I do ask for one small favor, though. I always ask that the heroes sign a book so that people can look through it. That way they know that
That's cute.
got the right stuff.
I would be glad to, she says.
He's gonna get out like a very specialized pen. It's like it's shape of a quill, but it's not like a feather. Then he's gonna bring out some it's like glittery ink, and you look over and you see like hundreds of names written in this kind of leather-bound tome on the side of his shop.
What's the most recent? Is it like a book that's chronological? Sorry, or
It's just in the order that they enter.
okay. So what's the names on the most recent one? Anything she recognizes?
Yes, actually, you are surprised. There is a name that you recognize at the very bottom of the book. Although you wouldn't have thought they would write their name in a hero book for sure. It is a pirate that you remember from your time on the Spectre. She wasn't one of Calrock's, but it's Mirwain Amblesnatch. She was a halfling rogue, similar to you, but her power was extraordinary agility. If she signed this book, she may still be in town.
Amber Snatch? Okay.
She pauses at the name for a moment and looks to the man. Do you remember this one?
Do I? She did 3 backflips right in the shop in front of me.
That sounds like her. Did she say anything about how long she'd be in town?
We didn't discuss things too much. She seemed a rather quiet type.
Just backflips in your store, not there.
I merely noticed that she had some interesting items on her. Asked her if they were magical. She said that she does a lot of adventuring. When I asked if she was ascended, she did some flips.
Any idea where she walked off to after shopping this establishment?
I couldn't tell you, he says.
Wonder if she was in town to sell anything.
It is possible that she is on a job, by which I mean she would thief from very high-class individuals.
Do you think she stole anything from this place?
If she's here, it's about a 60% chance that she... Oh, like from the store? Probably
From the
not.
store.
She steals very expensive stuff. Like jewels and art. Consider her like a famous cat burglar.
Okay. She nods and signs her name beneath.
You think you heard a long time ago that she sort of gave up the pirate life and sort of went solo as like a urban act.
I'm assuming, though, in some of the sketchier bars and establishments in town, there might be a way to probe for information.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Okay.
With your pirate finding ability, in fact.
Okay.
All right. With that, we will go ahead and call the session there for the time being, Noble Heroes. Thank you for coming to join us. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give us a like and a subscribe. And do try this at home.